Hello, all. Welcome to our Chalk Talk with Tony. I'm your host, Tmzoids, also known as Tony. And today we have the lovely guest, SatisfiedCurve, also known as Daddy. Now, I got permission to say this beforehand. Curve, we need explanations. What is this intro?
Right. This started probably 2 years into my streaming career. And it became a thing because being a chick on the internet, there's a lot of really nice gentlemen that would come in and they would try to use that as like a sexual thing. And I tried to take that power back. So instead of people coming in and saying that to me, I get to say, no, 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 I'm daddy. It's as simple as that.
There are a lot of weird people on the internet. I'm not going to lie. A lot of strange people, and I'm sure with Twitch, it gets weirder and weirder every day.
It does. But like I said, it's a good way of protection and to take a little bit of more power back on that. So it's never like it was never a sexual thing for me to say it back, but more of like power to get that away from people to use it against me. So
Interesting. Since we're on this topic, I actually going to pull up a TikTok question that's been viral. I'm sure you already know, maybe you don't. But would you rather be stranded in an area with a bear or a man?
interesting. This is actually like pretty controversial. Actually, a lot of people get upset about this conversation, and I mean, it's easy to answer for me. A bear. Um, I do have history with things, and most women do. But I think that a question needs to be redirected back to the men who are concerned about the answers, because instead of putting it of just of a woman choosing a bear, if you were to take your loved one, i.e., your mother, your sister, your daughter, what would you prefer? Being a strange man, if you were to go out into a forest, would you rather them be with a strange man or a bear?
That makes sense. I think a lot of people are taking it the other way and they're purposely just picking the bear because I've seen men respond to this and they pick the bear just in spite of because a woman's picking a bear and, they want to be edgy, I guess, cool. But I totally get it. For anybody that's picking the bear, I don't think it should be that controversial. It makes sense. There's a lot of safety concerns, a lot of issues. So, I
Yeah.
mean, a bear, you get 50-50 chance. It's either going to kill you or goes his way and you go your way.
Well, that is true. It's an interesting conversation. I don't I it always comes back to it's not every man, but it's a lot of them. So it is just a little bit of a different situation. Dang, you're going in deep quick.
That you
But
should. This will probably have a lot of innuendos here. No worries. You can swear. YouTube. I don't get paid by YouTube by any means, so
not
advertisers,
yet.
no, I don't think anytime soon. Oh my goodness. But on that note, though, yes, I think the men that are getting upset, like you said, probably have to self-reflect and look at the question a different way, which is good. I don't think I've seen that response. A lot of people are just seems like a lot of controversy back and forth, and not like opening the conversation and looking at a different view of it.
So on that same subject though, it was pretty interesting because I saw someone that was saying that this was, and I'm sorry if we can't talk about this, but there was a woman that had reposted it, basically turning this around and saying that this was a sexist comment and that the choices were men. If you had to be stranded in the desert, would you rather be with a dog or a woman? So that was a turnaround that I thought like a complete 180 on what the actual meaning behind all of that was.
Yeah, that I
But
didn't hear that one. That is was not prepared. Was not prepared for that.
it's an interesting one because I don't really know how that grasps the same concept because it ultimately came back to a woman nagging, and I think that the what bear movement, do we just call it something like that? Um,
I don't know. I guess.
it's just because it's such a hot topic with everyone. Um, I feel like the point was completely missed because there's so many men in the comments that are like, women just nag. Of course, I want a man's best friend, which is so different because it's like putting yourself into a dangerous situation in both aspects where it's like, oh, well, I mean, anyone in right mind would choose the animal, right? They would be like, oh, dog, easy. I would choose a dog. I want to be with a dog.
Yeah.
So,
I think also people forget. I think growing up, I think I've learned that women are always told not to go alone, especially bar. And we're even talking about like public nightlife. You know, don't go to bars alone. Don't get in strangers' cars. I mean, that goes for both men and women. But you know, never travel alone. Always travel in a pack. Always have somebody that knows your location. You know, I think that's changed a little bit with apps and online dating, but overall, still safety concerns. Everybody should be safe, men and women.
yeah. Especially with how connected this entire world is with like social medias and stuff like that. And I feel like it's so easy to obtain information about people now. Like you could just do like quick Google searches and stuff like that. Like I find is so crazy and there's just no privacy anymore. So that's always a concern. And I don't know if it's necessarily worse now because of social media or if it's just more well known because it's put out there, you know?
I think it's a little bit of both, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
But to go back and not make the conversation so deep so quickly there, starting with the classic question that I always do, how did you get your username SatisfiedCurve?
Okay. This is the question that I knew that was gonna happen. Um and yeah, so they're back in the depths of cyberspace long ago, there lurked a realm. It was known only to the elite hackers and um, digital renegades. Crap! I fucking knew I was gonna do this. No, I used to make stories every time that someone would come in, and it is such a terrible username. Um, I used to tell people that I would like I was in the ocean swimming, I was stranded, and I was swimming, and I'd have to punch every shark in the face. No, there is nothing exciting about my name. It is a really terrible name. Back when I started playing Xbox Live, um, I did a Xbox random generator. My goodness. And I was kind of just filtering through, and it was like this was back before they added numbers. So that's like OG, So I could never get rid of Satisfied Curve. Um, but yeah, so it was just one of the random generated ones, and I always got called Curve by my online friends, and then just kind of grew into it. And when I picked up streaming, I wanted to keep everything simpatico and just rode with it.
I'm surprised that wasn't taken on Twitch, to be honest with you.
Satisfied Curve.
Yeah, I figured that would be taken on somebody. Some idiot, some troll be like, yeah, you like my username? Do you need the curve? You know?
So I have always gotten that name through everything. I don't know why anyone would want to take it. Because like I said, it's a really dumb name. There's nothing to it. There's no any innuendos, there's nothing behind it. It's such a terrible name. And I remember I had started playing Pokemon Go with my mom back when COVID kind of hit hard, and I went to create a username, and I wanted to keep it all the same, and I went on to go as Satisfied Curve, and someone took that name, and all I could do was laugh about it because I'm like, what kind of idiot is gonna take that name? That's such a dumb name. So thus I became Dainty Flower on Pokemon Go.
Dainty flower.
Dainty Flower.
I cannot see you as a dainty flower. Just with the clothes that you have on now, the black, the emo looking kind of, and you go with dainty flower.
That was the point though. It was easier for people to be because I did like my mom was so dedicated to Pokemon Go that she was like part of Discords and she would be like messaging people, hey, we're meeting up at this place and then we're gonna drive to this place. So it was like I show up and they're like, oh, is Dainty Flower here? And I'm like, it's me.
I did the same thing. I actually did not know there were discords dedicated just for your areas. That was pretty cool. It helped with raids a lot, to be honest with you. Like, because me and my brother played, but me and my brother could never do the 5-star raids. So, and then we would randomly find people grouping up, and we're like, they're doing a raid. You can tell they're doing a raid. But then they're like, are you in the Discord? And we're Discord? What? and then it would just made everything so much easier. We're going here, there's a raid here, and you just so much easier.
So, on that subject then, how was your Discord? And like how was the experience with that? Because for me, it was like people were so tight. And there was one person in specific that was like running the show, right? He just thought he was top dog. He's a dude around my age. And like there were kids that were trying to do this. And like he would cut them off like immediately. Like there was no leeway. Show up right now or you're kicked out. And then people would end up missing out on the raid. So how was yours?
Mine was pretty good. Of course, there were kind of cliquish groups. There were like certain group of people that would hang out with each other within that group, if that made sense. You know, kind of like high school. You had your specific groups, but you're all in high school together, if that makes sense.
Exactly.
Um, Other than that, there were kids. There was a lot of people that played with their kids, believe it or not, which was I thought weird. And the amount of money people spent on this game, I thought I spent a lot of money in WoW and spent a lot of money in League of Legends. But holy cow, when he was like, "Yeah, I give my kid $100 a month," I'm like, $100 for Pokemon Go coins. He's like,
Oh
"Yeah,
my
so they can
gosh.
raid, and then I spend a couple hundred." I'm like, "What the hell?" I
Oh
was
my
blown
gosh.
away.
My mom was really bad about that as well. She spent a lot of money through that game. But I tried to, we would do this thing, like I would drive her around. We have like little areas that are like hotspots for like all of the spinning areas so you could get like Pokemon balls and stuff. She still spent a crap ton of money. Hey, wherever you're happy spending your money, I suppose. But yeah, there's a lot of money that is pumped into that game.
I believe it. I mean, I spent a good chunk of money, but I was just blown away by some of the amounts. People were like, "Yeah, just here and there." I'm like, "Holy cow, dude! There's more to life than Pokemon Go."
No.
But going back about gaming, let's start back when Kurt was a wee little lad or lady, I should say, not lad, lady. When did you first get into gaming?
Mm. Um, That's kind of difficult. So I have two older brothers. The second oldest, he was a very hardcore gamer. And being the little sister, I never really got the opportunity to game. There was a lot of times that I would try to sit in and watch him play video games, but as the baby sister, I'm annoying, go away. It wasn't unless I brought him food or snack, or snacks or drinks and stuff like that, and I had to basically just sit there and shut up. So I fell in love with gaming at a very young age, and like I would play games on like we had like a handheld Sega, and that was, gosh, I can't even remember. And like I was the era of like Nintendo where you would have Mario and stuff like that as well. I don't know if you can say that about Mario though. I feel like that's like an ageless thing, so maybe generation's not really fair to say. It wasn't until Halo, I want to say like right before Halo Reach is when I started getting hardcore into games. Mm, that's not even right either because I used to have my friends over and we started gaming on the GameCube and then Xbox. Fusion Frenzy. Do you know Fusion Frenzy?
I do not actually.
Oh my gosh, I am so offended. So I would do party games and stuff like that. And I would do things like Mario Kart. Double Dash was the shit. Sorry if I can't
No,
say
you're good.
curse words. Okay, I'm like
You're
I
good.
don't know if I can say that.
You can swear. You
Um,
can do whatever you want.
okay. Um, but yeah, I guess it wasn't until I got hardcore into games when I got online and I started taking like PvP very seriously. But I've kind of always played video games my entire life. So that's kind of a difficult question to ask because it's always been a part of my life and I did like, small games here and there anytime that I could get my hands on a console, but it wasn't like I was a very busy child with like sports and stuff like that. And again, my brother kind of had control and reins of any of our gaming systems. Um, but I always looked up to it and I always like enjoyed hanging out and being around it. And then like any of my any of my like small little handheld like Lion King on the Sega or like Sonic and stuff. Um, but yeah, it wasn't until like the early stages of Xbox when I got in with my friends and then moved into the PvP side when I took like gaming way more to heart.
break that down a little bit more. So you talked about your brother. He never gave you like a controller even to pretend that you were playing. He's like, get the fuck out of my room. Stop
No,
bothering me.
yeah, no, it was very much like, no, you're not. Like they my brothers were tough on me. Not like a, oh, woe is me. Like I'm very fortunate to have like the upbringing that I did, you know. But I think that it did make me tough and it made me have thicker skin for those like rejection of like, oh no, you can't sit with us. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like you're my brothers. Okay.
That makes sense. It's kind of funny because I would play with my younger brother and I would always give him the controller and he always brings it up now, but he's like, I can't believe back in the day I wasn't even fucking playing. You had me fucking sitting there with a controller like I thought I was fucking the character in the game. I said, no, you were just playing. He's like, I can't believe it. All these years I thought I was playing.
You know, that's a good like do you only have one older or one younger brother?
I have two actually.
Two younger brothers.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I mean, that's a
Uh,
power play for sure. I hear that a lot, but no, my brothers didn't really sugarcoat any of that. And I remember one of the first times, oh my gosh, there was like some type of Street Fighter game that my brother allowed me to play once or twice. Um, but one of the ones that made me have like the bond with him through games was Kirby All-Star. And I remember when you could like I was always the little buddy, which I loved. I thought they were so cute. But I remember when Kirby was able to turn into the rock guy and the time that we figured out together that he like turned into this like nudie muscle dude. Do you know what I'm talking
yes, when you
about?
observe the rock, yes, I know exactly what you're
Yeah.
talking about.
Well, cuz like being that young, you're like, "Oh, it's a budgie." But yeah, no. It was never I got to pretend. It was like um either do something for me if you want to stay or I remember he was playing Final Fantasy and the way that I was able to stay in the room with him while he was playing so I could watch was he made me stand in place and run really fast, like I had to sprint, and that helped his chocobo run faster. So but no controllers.
He actually had you exercise. It's like, yeah,
It did.
run faster, Mike.
My chocobo's it's lagging, you gotta sprint faster.
Oh no. Well,
It didn't sprint faster.
I.
I'm not a speed baby.
Oh boy. Oh, that's rough. But tough love. You know, it sounded like you had a good bond. Looks like your whole family enjoyed video games. But would you say you're more of a Sega person or more of a Nintendo person?
I don't really know if I have a preference. I try not to do like I like things from every like I'm not like an elitist with those type of things. Like I guess a little bit on the PC side, but I feel like PC gets to dabble in like everything. But I'm not like super picky. I just have like memories from every little pinch that I could have.
Makes
So
sense. And for
yeah.
the people that are probably like dying to know, what sports did you play? What position did you play?
I was front mid in volleyball, and I spent a lot of time. That was majority of my middle school to high school, till the end of high school, and a little bit after that. I was very serious about volleyball, and I ended up getting a full-blown scholarship out to Mississippi and a
Damn.
handwritten letter. Yeah, so I was really good. But I did volleyball 6 to 7 days a week. I was running Red Rocks. If you don't know what Red Rocks is, it's an amphitheater we have here, big stage that we would have to run every other weekend. I dedicated so much of my life to that, and then I fell in love with a boy and threw away all of that, and here we are.
Oh no. So
Yeah.
when you say you fell in love with the boy, is that because you didn't finish school, or you just said that's not for me, or you just stopped playing volleyball?
I finished out school. I got this, so I played competitively outside of school because school was so political, and I was too fat to be on the team.
What? Wait, what?
It's a
So,
whole story. We can go into it if you want. I know this is like totally separate from gaming and all of that. If
well,
you are.
finish your competitiveness for the volleyball, and then we'll circle back. I
So
You just blew me away with that comment. Like, but go ahead. Sorry, I apologize.
No, you're totally fine. Like I said, I'm an open book. So I never got to play in that sport. When we were doing tryouts it was freshman year. We all went in and we were playing. I was kicking ass, and um middle is constant like movement. You are constantly jumping up. You pull back when it's passed over, and then every time you're running up to the net, you're jumping. So I'm just the two outsides. They jump when they're gonna go spike. Middle is always faking it out, basically. So a lot of stamina through all of that, and I was blowing those girls out of the water. And then by the end of it, they cut me, and I had everyone that was trying for my position came up, and they're like, "We have no idea how you were cut from the team." All this other stuff came weird. Anyways, so I went through all of that and I decided I wasn't going to do high school. It was too political, blah, blah, blah. I ended up hooking up with a team outside as a competitive sport. We would go to conventions and play. And we went to one that was at the was it the Coliseum? I'm so embarrassed. Like I'm a Colorado native and I don't even know what the name of the place is that has like the big blue bear here. That's
I
really embarrassing.
I would have no idea. So
It's People are gonna be so mad, and I've been there so much, but I can't even think. It's not the Coliseum, but regardless, it's a big convention here, and they actually have people from um, colleges that come out and they scout, people out. And it's called Crossroads. But I was actually scouted out by one of the what do they call them? See, this is why I couldn't go
the,
to school because I don't remember
the
those
scouts,
types of terms.
I think they're just called scouting or scouts or one of
Well,
the
they are the scouts,
recruiters.
but it was one of the head honchos from the school that had actually it's not like not a dean, right? That's like is that a religious thing?
No, I think a dean is common in college. It's not common in high school. I think the highest in high school would be a principal. Maybe there's deans. There might be deans, but usually it's.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a religious thing. I remember having
Uh,
deans, but
I'm not whatever it was one of the higher up people from there that wrote a handwritten letter that had scouted me out because of my potential. In the midst of all of that, I was with someone for 6 years and I was crazy about him and I didn't want to leave the state. So I basically stayed here for that. It's going great.
oh, love does crazy things to you. It does. I
I,
mean,
I
it happens. It happens. So you didn't end up taking the scholarship, is what it sounds like. You just,
correct. So I
damn.
did graduate. I didn't go into college, even though it was like a full blown, you are paid for, we'll get you out here, go to our school. And I was like, no, I'm going to stay here for love.
Your viewers are probably screaming at the screen right now, like, you fucking idiot. What are you doing?
They are allowed to. I scream at myself every day.
But that being said, do you still have a love for volleyball, or is that kind of like died down now since you were so competitive throughout your younger years?
I love volleyball so much, and it's so weird to look back at it because I spent so much time doing it that it's like I'm almost forgotten so much about it. But there's always these times, like, we'll get together with like friends, we'll go do barbecues and stuff like that. We'll have a net set up, and I have so much fun with it, and it brings back so much love for that. And I would love to get into coaching, but I don't know, like, the way that I was trained, we were trained tough, and it was like, there's none of this, like, "Hey, you can't breathe? Run harder," and you can't do that anymore. Like, it's definitely like, "Oh, like, you have to sit down, like, take care of yourself," and stuff like that, and it's like, that's just how I am, so I don't know if I could go be a coach for newer generations, you know?
It would be a little adaptation period there, I'm sure. And
It would.
I'm sure it would take a lot of your, grinding your teeth, biting your tongue kind of thing to be like, all right, it's time to sit down.
It would take a lot of patience, and I just yeah, I love the sport. I watch my nephews play their sports as well, and, like, I'm such a competitive person, so I don't know. I would be one of those coaches, where it's like, come on, push harder, you got this. Like, and that's just I don't think that's what this world wants anymore. So
Yeah,
I think about it. I just that's kind of what's always held me back there. I'm like I would be one of those loud people, and I was trained with more of a tough love, where it's like I'd have a phenomenal game. That game that I was actually recruited, my mom, she was people were sitting there and they were cheering me on, and they're like, "Oh, Carl, like you did such a good job," and I'd be like, "Hey, mom," and she's like, "Yeah, I mean, you had a good game, but you could have done better." And all that did was push
oh,
me harder and make me better because I'm like, "Oh yeah, well I'll show you." So
makes
a little bit of a
sense.
different upbringing.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Um, Lastly on this, before we go back to the fat thing, is would you join a team then, just yourself as a player, or no? That's not something that interests you.
Um, I mean, I guess I haven't really thought about that as of lately. I have so much stuff going on in my life that I'm like, it's just in kind of in the back of my head because I would want to play it competitively. I think anyone from my age group, it wouldn't be taken as serious, so not as competitive. But I would also be playing against, it would be a co-ed team. And their nets are higher, and I am not as athletic as I once was. Believe it or not, I have aged. So I don't know, that's a little bit of an intimidation factor as well, but, like, as of right now, I haven't even thought about it with just regular life happening.
Makes sense. You do have a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. But going back, these people are probably curious now, and I am curious too. You were told you were too fat, or you were just, is that something you assumed, or what?
There Oh, sorry.
No, I was just, what the hell?
Um, this kinda leans into a little bit heavier side. So the coach was he was probably around his 30s when I was a freshman, and what is that, 15, 16, 14, 15?
14, 15. 13, 14? Somewhere around there. 14
I think
years old. Probably 14 because you graduated at 18, so about 4 years in high school. Yeah, about 14. 14 and 15. Maybe
so.
13?
I feel like 13's a little regardless, whatever it's a younger age. And that guy would watch the girls like hawks and not in a great way. Um and there had been talks of him spanking girls' butts.
Oh,
And there was comments made about my weight because I was 5'10", and I was a little bit thicker. Didn't stop my vertical, but that wasn't really what they based it off of. It was basically someone of I'm a loudmouth. I don't let things kind of pass, and maybe that's one of the things. But it did come out as horrible, and I think the direction that this is coming. It did come out, and he ended up getting fired because he was someone that should have been in prison.
makes sense. Yeah. To keep it PG, yes. I'm sure
Yeah.
people can assume or allude to what you were getting at there. But probably for the best. I mean, that was probably not the environment you wanted to be in anyway. Very toxic and goes back to the bear and man thing, damn it. See?
That's
People are going to be like,
yeah.
what the fuck?
They're gonna be so mad about that comment. They're gonna be so mad.
I know, not all men are like that. Like we said before, not all men are like that.
Don't fit into stereotypes.
This is true. If you're upset by that comment, then you gotta probably reflect, as mentioned.
Yes.
But moving back to the video games and a much lighter topic here, you talked about Xbox, you talked about Halo. So this was the split screens. You had your friends over. You weren't really online yet, though. It sounds like at that point it was more of your friends are just coming over and you're doing the I can't talk, split screen kind of thing.
So I mixed all of that up. Fusion Frenzy was when I had my friends coming over. So that was like our kind of like, how do I even explain this? Like mini games. You ever played Mario Party?
Yeah,
So it was more of that. That we would play games like that, and it wasn't until I like moved out. and had my own, like, I got a console for my birthday from my boyfriend at the time, and that's when I got into the Halo side of things. So even before then, it was more split screen party games, not online stuff before that.
So more about Fusion Frenzy. It's like Mario Party. What are some of the games that were like people could relate to if they've never played it? Like,
Um, I mean, like Mario Party, except it doesn't have like the board. It's just like the little mini games. I'm trying to think of like what other games have just mini games in it.
is it more like dice rolling games or like cut in a tree or like Mario had the tracing game, they had the balloon game.
You're
Uh,
making me smile so much because there's one game in particular that I love, and it was called Twisted System. And basically you would be all lined up and it was this corkscrew and you had to jump or dodge and it was like last survivor, so every game was put in as a last survivor, so you'd go in and like it would take, so separate from the twisted system, right? Duck dodge or jump dodge, duck whatever, and then you'd be the winner of that round, so you accumulated points from winning those. And then there's like other ones where it was like you'd be put into these like rolling balls and they would throw you and you'd be on a circular platform. You have to knock everyone off.
oh, it's
And then whoever won that.
like Mario. Okay, that one's I think on Mario Party, I believe. Maybe not in the first one, but older ones. I'm pretty sure.
Is it making you want to play
Kind of
Fusion Frenzy?
a little bit. Yeah, I'll be like, it's because if you could avoid the board part and just play the mini games, I mean, you can't go wrong. Can't go wrong.
Exactly.
But going into Xbox now, so you were more of an FPS kind of girl, or did you play Final Fantasy? You mentioned because of your brother. Did that ever interest you, or
No. Once I got into gaming myself, I became very hardcore into first person shooters and I fell in love with Halo out of spite. I survive off of caffeine, nicotine, and spite. So my boyfriend got me into the gaming side because he took me into the rat cage and he would continually spawn kill me with the sword. It was at that moment that I vowed to be better at that game than him, and I did. I did just that.
oh boy, love! I tell you, does crazy things. You know, let me get you this game system, honey. We could play this game together. First blood, double kill.
You know that's messed up though. He knew every spawn location. So every time that I would come up, here's him and just like slashing me with a sword, and there's nothing you can do about it. He's in your face. You're dead.
So how did you end up becoming better than him, knowing that
Better
he?
aim.
Damn! Calling him out right there. He's probably watching this, and he probably doesn't even know this exists. But if you're watching this, better aim, better FPSer now.
He knew. He knew when it happened.
He's like, oh, I let you win. Clear.
You know, on a like kind of in the similar thing though, it did put me into some very interesting situations when they were releasing. So I played so hard in Halo Reach. So it was like he killed me in what was that, Halo 3, I think. And then Halo Reach became my game. Like I was grinding so hard, I was an inheritor so fast, because I was just putting so many hours into this. And I was like, I don't ever sleep. So it was like I would go to work or I'd go to school, go to work, and then play video games until super early and then get like an hour sleep, do it all over again. So I was putting so many hours into this, but it became so known because this was also back before like females were like bigger into video games. It was back in the days when it's like, oh, it's a girl. Like, and that's not so much anymore. Like there's way more female gamers out there now, but it put us into, well, it put me into a situation that I never would do. And I always like, I like experiences of things. I went to Halo 4's midnight release. I was one of two women that were there. And there was someone, they were doing a competition in that. So, like one of those brackets that you fill out.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the guy's name. Um, Justin, I think. It started with a J. We're gonna say Justin. Justin was in that bracket, and they showed, or he didn't show up. And I was there with someone who was actually known. He went to school with me, and he was well known in the Halo competitive side. and they were like, "This is Justin," and he's like raising my hand and stuff. They put me in the bracket, and I felt horrible. I sat down next to the guy, and I played on 10 sensitivity,
Mm-hmm.
which was like unheard of back then. And it was SWAT first to five. I sit down next to the kid, and he was a little bit older than me at that point, and like he looks over and he's like, "Well, this sucks." I was like, "I know, I'm so sorry." And he's like, "I either win and beat a girl or lose and get beat by a girl." And like to me, I didn't take that as like a it was more of like, "All right, here we go." So I ended up going all the way through that. And then they didn't tell me on the final one I wasn't able to adjust my controller because I was like out by the car. I had to like sprint back from my turn, and they didn't tell me it was like sudden death, first kill wins
Oh
it all.
God.
I could have won that tournament. I could have won it, but because I didn't get to adjust my settings, I didn't know it was first shot. It was rough, but
Do you think they set that up? They're like, we can't let this girl win. We just.
I don't think so. I don't think that the people that were actually running it. There was actually a chick who had been working in that GameStop for a really long time, like ever since like my brother was going in there. And I don't think that it was ever like, oh, we can't have this girl win. I think it was just like they were trying to move things along, and it took longer than they thought because they were trying to do that midnight release.
Mm-hmm.
So no, I don't think it was anything to do with that.
Makes sense. So going from there, that was your first online experience then? That was when you first started playing online?
Halo Reach was, yes.
And how was that? Well, that was like your first time connecting to the internet, playing with people online, talking. I'm pretty sure you had the shitty fucking what are beach turtles or whatever the hell everybody had back then.
Dude. You're making me reminisce. Those were so bad. They were so uncomfortable.
But everybody
You're
was like,
talking
yes, the headphones, yes. But everybody's like, they're so good. They're the best around. And I was like, the hell? And I remember they were so fucking overpriced, and I bought some, and I was like, oh yeah, these are pretty good, and they didn't last at all. They crapped out in like a year and a half maybe.
so I will say that I played with the Xbox headset for a very long time. So, the one that has the one side and then just the little tiny earphone and the little crappy mic that pokes out.
Yes.
I rocked the hell out of those for a while. And then I did get into Turtle Beaches just because it was kind of like the top brand at the time.
Yeah.
Um, I remember how flippin' uncomfortable those were, and they like squoze my head so bad. I don't know if you had the head squeezing thing, but it's like you wear those for a little bit, and it's just like you get such a bad headache.
Yeah, it was not the best. Probably why they're not the top anymore. I mean, I think they still sell them. Nothing wrong with Turtle Beaches for people who love them, but not the best. Well, what was
Um,
your experience though? How did you feel like your because it doesn't sound like you had too much online presence before then. I don't know if you're like big AOL girl, but other than that, yeah.
um,
But how did it feel like you're playing with somebody that's all the way across the country or a different state?
so that's a really good question. I really like that question. So obviously it was really hard because again, being one female in a giant pool of men, there's always the bring me a sandwich. And then worse comments like that. Um, It's funny as well because I always remember bad people's names. So people that like were rude to me, those are the names that I remember. And this was probably back in like 2009, right? I remember playing this, and there was someone that I kept going against in Halo, and his name was Salted Nuts. And he sucked. He was such a jerk because I was a girl, because I would whoop his ass. That's ultimately what it was. So I remember these names. And he was a jetpack needler user, and I was DMR, and he didn't like that. So there was a lot of smack talk between him. Um, and I also have there was a couple. This is funny. So it was me and my boyfriend that would play, and we came across this other couple with Ace in their names. I can't remember what the last part of it, but they both went by Ace something. And it was the first time that like Connects had come out. And when my boyfriend was trying to defend me, her boyfriend sent him a Connect photo of his nutsack. So that was the first time that we got to see something like that online. Um, but I mean, there was a lot of good experiences too, and I think that that's also one of the things that I love about gaming is because that did bring me a lot of close friends. I feel like you get to know someone before streaming, before a Twitch was even like a thing. You get to have bonds with people with zero judgment. Like just enjoying the game, and I definitely miss those days. But I created friendships, 9-year friendships with people that it was just like you felt like you actually knew their heart and not by a physical thing, just for like a passion of a game.
That makes sense. Do you feel like I know you didn't have too much of like your friends playing on the split screen, but do you think playing online takes away from that now because people won't experience that? You won't have your friend come over and be like, "Let's play on Halo," and you'd have the split screen going, or your boyfriend plays over. You don't even need that. You just, hey, connect. I'll get you on Discord. We'll go on a call and play a game or whatever.
I mean, I think that's just technology as a whole, though, isn't it?
A little
I
bit,
mean,
yeah.
we used to go up to friends' houses and we'd knock or ring the doorbell, and we don't do that. It's like, "Hey, I'm outside." Um,
That's true. That is true. I didn't think about that.
yeah, so technology's kind of pulled us away and made us very, very detached. And I mean, think about like meeting someone, dating someone. The way to meet someone now is online dating. So I think that that was kind of inevitable regardless. And yeah, it does suck because, people aren't going to be able to experience the LAN parties and stuff like that. Um, but there's still a few friends that still like to get together and plug in the old N64 and load up some Super Smash Bros. And stuff like that. Um, but yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate. I feel like technology progression has ruined a lot of connection.
Makes sense. I mean, you also could go to like game shops still. I know there's not a lot of them, but go to game shops and play Magic the Gathering. I know some people have, but not tournaments, but people could play there and meet one another that play. Usually
Yeah.
card games. Nothing like video game related, but it's card games, Just still have
And,
that connection.
and I love that. I think that's such a cool idea. I wish that I had more, it's so weird. I don't know why, because nerds are my people, but nerds don't like me. So I go to places like that. I know that sounds stupid, but like I would love to go into those places and just be kind of like a fly in the wall and stuff, but I typically get turned down a lot for those types of things. Like I remember walking past when I used to work at the mall and I worked across GameStop. They would do a midnight release and I would walk past and I'm like, "Oh, hey, what game's coming out?" And they're like, "Oh, I don't know." I'm like, "Well, you're here for a midnight release." Okay, I'm just gonna go home and have fun.
You got to keep in mind, probably nerds are very introverted people, though. They don't, they're not extroverted.
Well, I mean, that's fair.
Some of them, not all of them, some of them.
That is fair.
But continuing your journey online now, so you're going to PC gaming, the building, the stepping stones, we're getting there. So, how did you get into PC gaming? What was your first experience with a PC? Like I said, it didn't sound like you had AOL or dial up from what I can tell. I could be wrong.
It's all rushing back to me. I have such a tiny pee brain. One of the games. Oh gosh. All right. So another game that my brother was into on the PC, and this was back with AOL dial-up.
Oh, there you go.
I wasn't I wasn't allowed to play because he was always on it. And then he started transitioning off that probably when I was 14. Holy cow, I can't believe I forgot this question or forgot this like whole situation. But when I was 14, I remember playing World of Warcraft.
Holy cow. How do you forget
um,
about playing World of Warcraft? That is like the gateway
suppression,
drug.
suppression. I guess I don't know my timeline very well. Stay in school, don't do drugs. No, I'm totally am not that way either. Um, yeah, it's never that I took it too seriously though. I was like, ooh, I want to be. Oh gosh, I'm gonna fucking sell myself out here. My brother was Alliance. and maybe that's why I'm such a horde person now, but he played an alliance night elf,
Hmm.
and I thought that night elves were cool. I've always loved elves, and I thought it was so cool that I could run around as one. So I went in as a night elf and then came out as a troll.
Ironically, you kind of have the same similar path because I started a night elf, and then as the game evolved, and you could switch factions and stuff, and ended up as I think a troll too. I think I had one a Worgen and a troll. I had all kinds of shit. But so did
Hell
you
yeah.
did you raid or were you more of a PvP? Because you always talk about PvP.
So, like I said back when I played it then, I never played it too seriously, and it wasn't until about 3 or 4 years ago that I went more into doing mythics, or I guess it wasn't until Shadowlands that I actually raided because I was always really intimidated. World of Warcraft has such an elitist group, and they're so mean and so quick. That no one wants to help you. They don't want you to be better. They just want you to be good. Um, so I never really liked to do dungeons and stuff like that because it was always very intimidating for me. And like I was always the first person. Like I would be heals and people would make terrible choices of like standing in things that you can't out heal. Like even if the damage numbers and healing numbers showed that I was doing well, people are so quick to just be like, nope, it's the healer's fault out. So I tried to stay away from that until I had more of like knowledgeable friends to go in to that and be walked through, and like communication was huge for me, to have people kind of explain like certain things because my brother never showed me anything. It was like he didn't want his little sister following in his footsteps, and he wanted all of his things. He's like, my favorite color is red, and I'm like, me too, and he's like, no, that's my color. So it was just anything with that. So it was like he never wanted to help me with that. I tried to do the whole team speak. That was intimidating. And then it was like dungeons. So I never really got into any of the bigger stuff until a couple of years ago. And I've never been good at PvP. I enjoy going out in the wild and having a little bit of PvP, but I would never queue for it.
Interesting. So did you take a break from WoW, or have you been playing WoW this whole time on and off? Because like I said earlier, it's World War crack for a reason. So
It is. No, I take breaks. Like I got into WoW pretty hard in Shadowlands, and then I stopped playing a little bit. I loved Mythics and Shadowlands. But I could only grind so high, and then I tried doing the raids, but again, people just expect you to be good. They don't want to teach you anything. And then
mhm.
I started having like my friend group who we were doing like higher Mythics, never did raids. And then I stopped playing then, and then they brought out Dragonflight, and I got really involved in Dragonflight because like the flying is amazing. Um, and started working towards my achievements on being like you do it within a certain amount of time, you got like this certain title or whatever. But then I dropped that really quick too, so it's like kind of intermittent. And then like after the Dragonflight was released, then they brought out Season of Discovery, which I went in pretty hard to level 40, and then I was like, okay, I'm kind of burnt out, so I stopped playing again. Like recently, probably 3 months ago, 2 months ago, I deactivated my subscription again. So it comes in waves.
The love and hate relationship for WoW. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't go away, sadly. Does not go away. Just a suggestion in the future, you could always, if you're scared, you could also YouTube boss fights. I think the, the main people that used to do it, I don't think do it anymore. But if you're ever curious and you're like, oh, I want to do a mythic or I want to do a raid and go in there and at least know someone to the fight. And like you said, people stand in bad all the time. There's people that think they're good and then they stand in all the shit that kills you. So, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I use Hazel's videos a lot for raids. But I am a very hands-on experience type of person, and people should not go into a raid expecting you're going to go flawless through it as a pug group.
Oh, yeah, that
Um,
should be given. But
but they always expect you to. So it's like I will do I'm like, okay, I'm listening to what you're saying, but until I'm in the action, I'm not going to fully understand. So if I wipe once, like I've been kicked out just for one wipe and people are like, "You have no idea." And it's like, "Okay, well, it came out 2 days ago." Like
Eh,
the raid came out 2 days ago, guys, but okay. Which just sends a little PTSD because I'm like, I don't think that I'm bad. And I've had people that have been playing WoW their whole life who even said like, "Oh, you're a good healer." Um, but nope, I'm always the first person. I have no idea what it is about me. They just don't like me and I'm out of here.
It's crazy. I mean, I can tell you that there's very elite people in WoW. I think that's spilled into other games, which are cause toxicity. But there's also a lot of good group people. I've met a lot of good people on WoW, so a little mixed bag of both, I guess.
Mhm.
So would you say you got more into MMOs? Is that the only MMO you played was World of Warcraft, or
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I just kind of go where people enjoy games, so I kind of attract to that and like I give things a try. And it's like when I had good people in WoW, so I had a lot of people from my community, like we had a solid group to do raids with, and it was just so much fun because it was like, people would be making those mistakes, and like I had specifically one person stand in things as DPS, right? He was a rogue. He would purposely stand in things just to try to die, but I wouldn't let him, which I loved. Like it was such a challenge to be able to do those things. Um, what was I saying?
no? That sounds fun.
Meow.
Other than WoW, there was no other MMOs. That was the original question.
Yeah, no, not really. But like I said, I'm down to play a bunch of different games, but like that was the one that really stuck. Like I've tried a couple, but I don't know. I'm not huge into MMOs. I would much rather be playing first person shooters.
So, what are the first-person shooters that you play on PC?
Well, Apex and Overwatch and gosh, I don't have like anything current right now. I mean, those are just the two big ones that like, come to my mind.
Would you
I wish
consider Overwatch FPS?
you wouldn't.
I don't know. Maybe,
What
kind of.
what
I guess it depends who you play because they're not all shooting. I mean, they're shooting, but they're not all shooting. Does that make sense? Like,
So what would you consider it?
I isn't it like a battle arena of some sorts? I don't know the official definition of Overwatch, but it's like, have you ever played? What is it? TFT? Not TFT. Is it TFT? I can't.
What's
Team
that?
Fortress 2. Yeah, Team Fortress. Similar concept of. I think that's where Overwatch came from originally.
Hmm. They're saying that it is a first person shooter.
Oh well, maybe I
Because
could.
isn't TFT third person?
Um, I've never played TFT, so I couldn't tell you.
Me neither.
But I thought that was where the concept came from. TFT. I thought that's where they ripped the concept from because it's classic Blizzard. They take it and that's where you know where Dragon Ball came from, right?
No.
Guild Wars 2. They were the first people that actually had the dragon flying.
That's cool.
Yeah, they. You know how WoW is. The original World of Warcraft was ripped off of another MMO.
Oh, well, I'm not surprised about that, but I
That's
mean, they've done phenomenal.
yeah, that's a Blizzard classic. You take something and you rip it and make it their.
That's right. It's just business, baby.
But who's your go-to a champion in I guess both Overwatch and in Apex?
Ooh. Okay, I am a big, big person in Flex. Um, we'll do Apex as is the most recent. In that would be Revenant. Octane used to be, but the last time that I played Revenant, I was going pretty hard. I have yet to try the new chick. Um, Overwatch, I'm major flex in that. I'm a support main, and I hate to fit into this stereotype, but I'm a pretty badass Mercy.
Oh boy.
I It's true though, right? Like Mercy's just a really good character to be because it's like solid heals and you can get revives, which like everyone loves a Mercy regardless.
Hmm.
Um, but I would prefer to play Ana. Um, since the changes from Overwatch to Overwatch 2, everyone getting a little bit of rework, it's a little bit harder to play those characters. But when I like to just go completely AFK, Mercy is just so easy, where I'm just like, oh, I know this. I can look away from the screen. Like,
Have you played the game that reverses the roles and Mercy does different things and
Are you talking about the event that they were doing where she like does exploding?
yeah, she explodes and
So good. I wish that that was like a forever thing because I love that so much. Because they've turned healers with Overwatch too. They've turned healers to being more damage. Like Moira, she is just such a damage hog and she can put out heals. So she's always going to be top for the boards across. And um, I mean, if you look at every single healer through that game, they all do damage. So it would be really cool to just completely rework Mercy to do that. Except her exploding, so it's like they take the souls, and when they do the exploding, she does so much damage. You can kill like 4 people with it. It's too good, but it is a lot of fun.
so how did you feel when they went from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2? I knew that was
Next
coming.
question. Yeah, they completely turned the game and not in a good way. I actually put the game down. It wasn't until recently that I had picked it back up. I was hardcore into the ranked. I really enjoyed the competitive side of that. Comes down to communication. I usually went in with 3 people. I didn't like going in a full stack because you'd go against God Genjis that can deflect everything.
Hmm.
Um, but once they changed the ranking system, because I was one step below, like I was like 3 points away from diamond, and I was always pushing that. The ranking system kind of always has sucked in Overwatch, but when they went to two, they punish you so hard, and you get paired against people that are so much better than you. So I hated that about the game. And obviously, you're going to have to get used to anything that they change within any game that you play when they go, oh, well, we have to nerf this, we have to buff this, and I don't feel that they focus on the right things. But who am I to say? I don't create games, so I play them.
Makes sense. I know there's a lot of controversy, I guess, with that because the concept of Overwatch 2 is kind of scrapped now. There's going to be a PVE side to it, and they said, yeah, that's not happening anymore. Okay, we're so that got that going on, and Blizzard does have a lot of internal stuff going on, which also affects their games and the people working on the game, and which rightfully so. I mean, everything that's come out about Blizzard in the last couple of years has been pretty insane. So,
Are you referring to McCree
uh,
slash Cassidy? Is that where that was when you said that they're
well,
when they
that
came out
and
with everything?
yeah, that and just all this they're getting sued and the random the walkouts and the everything just got affected. World of Warcraft, all their IPs got affected by it, and just their direction of where things are going are just it's rough for Blizzard. Is it rough?
I have never been so involved in all of that, and the only reason I was involved with the Cassidy McCree thing was because that was like the controversial thing of like cancel culture. And I would have people come in and be like, "Well, what's your opinions? You should boycott this. You shouldn't play this game." That's the only reason I know about that. But my World of Warcraft experiences have been mostly outside of Twitch. So I do
Mm.
that like offline. So I guess that's the only times that I know those is when people come in and they're like, "You should do this." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. What's going on now?"
Yeah, they were just getting sued by the state of California, and then they had the walkouts, and then I believe it was during Shadowlands that they had I think was it 12 months or 18 months of just no content because they didn't have anybody working on the game.
No way.
Yeah, it was a long time. Was it Shadowlands or the one after that? But there was just no content, no patch because all the turmoil and all the bullshit that was going on with Blizzard. There was a bunch of crazy shit, but yeah, a lot of weird shit. Like I said, walkouts and people quit, and the main guy, Bobby Kodak, is no longer with Blizzard, and now Microsoft is taking over Blizzard. So there's a transition period there, and I don't know. I feel like they've gone away from. They just want your money. They don't really focus on StarCraft anymore. They don't even mention it. Don't even mention it.
Wow.
BlizzCon isn't happening this year. If you didn't know, BlizzCon is. Yeah,
What?
you didn't know this?
I didn't. I had no idea. That's crazy.
Yeah, they have completely canceled BlizzCon, and some are speculating that it probably won't ever come back. To be honest with you, so
Whoa.
because the last one, well, the last one you didn't know any of the information about or the drama with that, with how fucking insane the prices were, and then people went and they're like, there was no esports. The venues were much smaller. Everybody was crammed in, I guess. It was a shit show. It was not the best, but
Wow.
yeah,
I
yeah.
had no idea. That makes me really sad. One of my goals was to cosplay at a at a BlizzCon. That's so sad.
Well, hopefully it comes back. The people are speculating that it won't. I'm not too sure. I don't know, but it is canceled this year. It is not. There's nothing going on this year. I'll tell you that much.
Wow. Well, thanks for the insight.
Of course, of course. I'm a huge Blizzard nerd, so I love Blizzard. People are like, "Why do you support Blizzard?" Same thing. Like, they're just a cash cow. They want your money, and then now it's like, yeah, uh,
Everything does, though. It's so
yeah.
hard when people say that because what game doesn't want your money?
That's true. That's true. But I feel like their transactions and their things that even like when they made Classic World of Warcraft Classic, and you can go back
Hmm.
and play the classic ones. They added and implemented stuff like the coins and stuff to boost you, and it's like those weren't in the classic I played at least. Those weren't options.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, I get it. I do wish they would do stuff with StarCraft. I am nervous. People are like, make a StarCraft 3. I'm like, have you seen their recent games? I don't I don't know. Let's just keep it on the back burner.
Oh man, that's crazy though.
You'll
I
you'll be Googling after this. You'll be like, what's going on in this?
bring
I
black they being back. Oh my gosh. I'm not even say it.
mean, bring it back BlizzCon. There you go. Now you got me saying it. Oh,
Dude, that's tongue twister. I don't even care anymore. Go away.
all right, back on track now. Back on track. People are like, "What are not sponsored by Blizzard? Not anybody important by Blizzard." But moving forward now onto Twitch and video games and all that. How did you discover Twitch?
Oh, so this was Destiny era. This was when it was first coming out. Um, I had my very first boyfriend who I loved, and still he has a part of my heart.
Uh,
Um, it's true though. No, this guy is someone that will always be a part of my family. Deeper discussion. He's just someone like I have so much respect for and love for. And he was a streamer on Twitch, and I went into his stream one day and we were talking a little bit, and he had made the comments of, and I was very new to this. And he was like, "You'd be a really good streamer. You should do that." And so I did. But it all stemmed from him being a streamer on there. So I owe a lot to that man, getting it up. And like I'll occasionally see him from time to time, but yeah, it was he just streamed random games, and it's kind of crazy because he plays a lot of different games. It's not always, it's not like first person. It's very much like old school Warcraft, and I'm just so not that style. I don't like the highlights and clicks, and this is not my type of game, but like those are the types of games he was playing. But because I am there for the content creator and not because of the game, that's where I would hang out. And it's kind of crazy to watch as well because he had people in his community that I had met that day. And going forward, when I had decided to finally pick up streaming, those people ended up in same communities when I was in the Destiny directory. So it's a little, it's like, it's such a small world, but it's not.
yeah, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So he was your first person you watched on stream. Did you watch anybody else besides him that's like well, not notable, but anybody that you were like, I watch them all the time and they don't stream anymore, or I miss this person, or
I mean, I was never into like big streamers, just because chat gets too chaotic. I feel like there's no actual connection with the community, and a lot of it becomes you just start fading into a number.
mm-hmm.
That's the way I felt, anyways. So I always hung out with like smaller streams, and it is sad to see a lot of your people, and then they just never pick up. But it's the same thing of like graduating through high school, right? Like friends forever, and then it just kind of all fades away. So I mean, it is sad, but it's just life. It's just life, baby.
So you started stream. Actually, Destiny. Let's talk about Destiny real quick.
Oh
Is
no.
Destiny? Do you still play Destiny? That's the first question.
Hell no. To the no, no, no. You want to talk about Cash Cow?
I was gonna mention this. So I've never played. I've seen gameplay of Destiny, but somebody said that it's so complicated now to get into Destiny because there's so much you need in order to purchase to get to where you're even relevant in the game or even playing the game. I don't know much about it, so
So I do want to start off because you're going to end up having people that are so angry going into this. If they hear this part of the interview, they're going to be like, Destiny's the best game. Um, I dedicated a lot of my time to Destiny. And I noticed so many things with that community. They were very tight knit at the beginning. That's when I went out to conventions. That's when I met people person to person. And Destiny is a beautiful game, and it started off really good. It started off really wholesome. That people were like a family, and then it started to become clicky, and then it started to become really messed up. Um, Gosh, where do I even want to start with this? Do I want to start with the community? Or do I want to start with the game? Beautiful game, very, very fluid. Um, and I was big into PvP. Destiny 1, it's weird to call it that because it was just Destiny. Destiny was great for PvP in my opinion. I wasn't much of a PvEer at all. I hated, I can't even think of it, strikes, whatever they were. It was so repetitive and just it was so flippin' boring. It wasn't until Overwatch Destiny 2 that they started screwing up PvP. And I remember one of my lost hopes was when they had the creators, right? The PvP sandbox, those types of people, they didn't even know how to use their own weapons. They didn't know how to aim their own weapons. They didn't know how the guns worked. That just showed me how much that they didn't care about their game when they're just providing us crap that they don't even know what is working, what isn't. It did become those things where it was like, hey, buy our DLC. Hey, buy our DLC. Literally, it's just a copy and paste of Destiny 1. I've already purchased this. And it started to get to the point where I'm just like, now I'm just not enjoying it because I have to do the same bounties from this person as I was doing from this person. They just have a different color to them. I was really sad to see that the guns they would bring back. So it was like I paid $40 for this DLC. They sunset it, or it died in Destiny 1. They're like, hey, spend $40 and come back and play this, and you can get this gun from Destiny. And it's like, okay, but I already bought that. Then they started making it even worse by taking the content that you're purchasing from Destiny 1 to Destiny 2 and then sunsetting it. So you could no longer even access those raids. I will say Destiny 2's raids were better than Destiny 1's. There's always going to be that what is the word that I'm looking for? Like when you reminisce in it, like
yeah, your
nostalgia.
nostalgia, yeah.
So there's always going to be that nostalgia factor for like the Templar and things like that. Which these are, if you don't play Destiny, you're not going to know. But like there's always going to be that nostalgia factor. But I definitely feel like they brought a lot more of like community, like you have to be a group in order to do the raid, which was huge to me because I always hated going into groups where like, well, I'll do shield, well, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll run sword. And it's like I like a raid group that like challenges everyone across the board because it's your team going in, and that's what a raid's about in any game. You're supposed to show up and it challenges your team to be able to push through that. Then people started doing, and I guess, see, I'm bouncing around on timelines here too. Going back to like Destiny 1 when it was good, they started introducing paid carries through Twitch, which was illegal, and it was against terms of service from Bungie as well as like Twitch. They didn't want you doing that, but people still got away, and I felt like that is where the toxicity really spiked. Was from paid carries. So PvP started becoming very unfun because you would go up against people on these account recoveries. Um, where someone that was really good who was like a 3.0 person would be playing on someone at a point zero 0.05 KD. So you'd go up against these people and you'd get whomped. And like trials, you would get set back. So you have to have 7 consecutive wins. And then you'd go up against these people who are better than you, but you would get placed with them because they were on a fake account. So it got super toxic in the PvP aspect. So that's kind of where it like started falling off for me. And then I got more into the raiding aspect until people started exploiting the raids. And then you'd have people come in and they're like, well, why are you doing it this way? And I'm like, because that's the way God intended, like Um, so yeah, Destiny very much became like cash grabby, pay for all of the stuff you've already paid, and it just became so toxic. And just like everything good must fall, there was a lot of Me Too's that were coming out as well, from the conventions and stuff like that. I was so thankful to get out of that toxic community because it essentially became, what can you do for me? People only wanted to be around me, only wanted to know me when I was sitting at a higher viewer count. When I had left Destiny, who I thought were my friends, right? I went and hung out with them at a convention. I left Destiny and was playing Diablo, and everyone, I had so many people. I have like 3 friends from the Destiny community anymore, but majority of them people like just completely, they unfollowed me, they don't talk to me, they've blocked me, whatever it is. It just became such a toxic cesspool.
God bless the internet, I tell you.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of my heart and soul went into Destiny. So I'm a little salty. I have my reasons. I hit every bug, and then I had everyone with, they were like, "Well, you're doing it wrong." And I was like, "I'm doing it by the book. I've played this game. I'm putting in hours and I'm getting screwed." Always wanted to be the day one raider, even if we didn't complete it. I hit every bug that stopped me from having my light level high enough, and that was like the breaking point for me where I was like, "You know what? I'm not doing this. I'm done. I'm not paying anymore."
Makes sense. You talk about conventions. We'll talk about conventions real quick here. Just your favorite convention that you've gone to.
Unfortunately, I've only been to 2, and it was the second year that I went. The first year was very drama filled. A lot of weird things happened, but the second one, I got to hang out with more of just my people. The first one I went there is more of like very business, want to meet people. And it was after that where I kind of had like I started realizing like people's wants from me, where it was like, "Oh, Curve, come be on my stream with me," and then they used the shit out of me and then bailed on me. So it was like that second year that I decided to go to that convention. It was, and both of them were the I think it was Destiny Con the first year, and then Destiny's like, "We don't want your name, we want our name on it," so that became Guardian Con. Which are both for good causes, right? They run campaigns for St. Jude's and they raise so much money, which is incredible. Which I love supporting those things. Um, but I just don't foresee me going. It's not like a want or desire to do anything more with Twitch. As far as Twitch cons, I need nothing from those. I don't even think they do them anymore. I would have loved to have gone to something like E3s, but yeah, I I did the conventions. The second one was better just because it was more of like everyone could get together and hang out. My favorite part was when we all like went back to the hotel and we were just drinking. So I could do that anywhere. I don't need to spend a crap ton of money to fly out to Florida the busiest time of year and just spend a bunch of money to see friends.
Makes sense. So you would not go to a TwitchCon.
I would not.
Damn. There you go, guys. You're never gonna see her at a TwitchCon. Damn it. It's over. Good luck.
TwitchCon's scary though. I never feel like there's never not a scary story from that. And like I've had my own personal scary things. Like there have been like offenders in my stream that I found out about that I've actually had to like reach out to their parole officers.
Oh,
And you just never know who you're gonna end up hanging out with and stuff like that. And like there was a lot of reality checks for me that scare the hell out of me. And it would have to take something very special to want to bring me to something like a TwitchCon.
so would that be the same for the Destiny con or whatever the cons you went to, or is that just a different vibe? It's a different era? I don't know, or different people you knew, or
Well, I was very involved with the Destiny community. So Guardian Con was very Destiny. That was, everyone kind of knew everyone. If you hung out in any of the partner streamers, you kind of knew a lot more. So there's a lot more connections. But then you start to get to like TwitchCon that has it literally, it's just such a big pond. You've got your hardcore nerd gamers, you've got like your old school gamers, you've got like your just chatting ladies and stuff like that. And it's just I guess there's not I'm so irrelevant on Twitch. Like I'm a nobody on Twitch, but I also don't fangirl over anyone. Like my connections on Twitch are strictly friends that I feel like I could like go and hang out and have like a meal with you.
makes sense. That makes sense. And TwitchCon is expensive. I mean, cons are expensive. You get the hotel, the travel. you're not in the area, and just con itself, it can get expensive, and then all that other stuff, food and drinks, and then whatever else you want to do. And then if you plan to stay longer, because it's usually in California, so people, people like the zoo, or people might want to go to Disney or travel or see a game, hockey game, baseball game. Oh, who knows? I don't know.
But it's California. Blech.
Gee, you're making a lot of people happy right now. You're like, yeah,
Hey, I've been to California. I'm allowed to have this opinion, all right?
fair enough, fair enough. Focusing more on Twitch. So you stream on Twitch. You're one of the few people that I have that is actually a partner. Was that ever a goal of yours, or was that just by like insane chance? And
It was a huge goal for me. It's a little emotional too. So I had been streaming. I am on year 8 this year. So I've been around for a little bit. Um, and I think it was at year 5. I wanted to make it a point that I did not get partnered because of being a girl. Um, I didn't want it to be because of flirtation. I didn't want it to be because of my body. I wanted it to be the original reason of why I was streaming was because I wanted to be a connection of people that enjoyed video games. And I never wanted to lose sight of that. I am so against like the partner hashtag partner pushing. I didn't tell people that I was pushing for it. I had friends that would raid me because they're like, okay, I see that you're getting close, like that all of the talks behind it. And like there were some things that like people would send me messages like, well, if you want to get partner you should do this, and it's like, but I don't want to do that. I want to do it because it's right. I want people to support me because they want to, not because they feel like they have to get me to that goal. And you hear a lot of really crappy comments like, because I was in year 5 and I saw so many people that would get into streaming and within 6 months they would be partnered, and that was never, it's never, "Hey, sub to me. Hey, be in my channel. Hey, do this for me." I never wanted it to be about that, and I tried to just base it off of growing a community, and I'm so grateful that I have, because I love where I'm at. I love my community. And I would never want to go through the growing pains. And like a lot of people got it from really dodgy things like viewer bots. Um, but yeah, my gosh, I am derailing so hard right now. um but yeah, so in the year 5 of like hearing all of these people like, oh well, it's so easy to become a partner on Twitch if you're a girl, and it's like that's not really a fair thing to say. So I wanted to get it when it was right. And I remember when I hit those numbers, because in Destiny 2 I was hitting those, I was like scraping those numbers. I was at 65 average, and people started recognizing that, and that's when I was like, I'm done with Destiny. And then people started pulling back. So I dropped down to 9 people, and those 9 people are still with me in my community, which is phenomenal. And they are my ground base of making that partner and making all of that happen. So it was a very emotional day when it actually had finally happened.
so what game was it that made you partner? Just
Anthem.
no idea.
You don't know anything about Anthem.
No, nothing.
So this was one of the other reasons why I hated the Destiny community, because Destiny's gonna say this, Destiny dick writers were talking about how Anthem was going to be the Destiny killer, which is not fair to put on a new game. Bungie has had experience. Bungie had Halo. And then they created something that was not the, I mean, it's the first of their kind, I guess, kind of. Like they did their own thing with Destiny, which was good, but they already had some backbone. Anthem was released and just kept getting jerked off. Like, not even I say that. They were getting screwed over. Things weren't working out. They ended up losing one of their lead designers because he died. They were going in a direction and had to scrap the entire work that they had and recreate a game in 6 months. The fluidity in the game was beautiful. You fly around, you feel powerful. It was so cool, and I shared a bond with those people that it just, a bunch of the community got together, and because it wasn't as big as Destiny, my stream being at whatever viewers I was sat a little bit higher, so that's where I started gaining so many of my community today. That's I had such a good time in Anthem, and I'm so sad because it all got shut down. But it is because of, well, not just because, but like a big part of it was because of the Destiny fan base, that were like, fuck this game. Like there was one of the biggest streamers in Destiny who ended up like exploiting and being a shitbag in the game. And then Anthem was basically like, you're out of here. So all of his community and his, average of 2,000 people in his channel all basically banished this game. And again, not all of Destiny's fault, not of all of Destiny's fan base is the reason. Anthem chose poorly on communication. They were like, oh, where are we gonna do? Not Twitter. We're gonna go to Reddit. Stupid. But yeah, it could have been such a cool game. But yeah, Anthem was it was really good. I really enjoyed that.
Was Anthem the one where you were in like a robot or a mech suit, kind of? Oh, I remember this game. I remember the commercials for this, and you would fly. You'd like have the booster to your feet, and you'd like zoom up. Okay, I know. Very base level, not anything
It was
else, but
it was like Warframe mixed with Destiny. Like it was its kind of own thing, but it was like you had the flying and the movement and like mobility of like Warframe. I don't know if you've played Warframe.
yeah, that makes more sense.
So, but it was like you could fly, but then they had the ultimates and stuff. Not like I hate to compare it to Destiny, but that's just like on subject. But like with the ultimates, the difference was is that Anthem brought power. Like you felt powerful when you went into those ultimates. Like you couldn't die. It was like you build up this character, you give yourself all. I can't even remember all of the stuff. I suppression. Um, but yeah, you felt like a god when you went into your ultimate, which just felt so good, and the flying around. And I'm so sad that I didn't get to see that progress.
Interesting. Did you know that Overwatch, the original one, had the hype that it was supposed to kill League of Legends because League of Legends was such a hyper game back then?
I
And
didn't.
let me tell you, it did not kill League of Legends. Nah,
Oh.
Riot Games right now is probably sitting on their throne laughing, just enjoying life.
What a crappy way to put that on, like regardless of who did it, to come out and say that it's a game killer is so crazy because it's like that's like you just taking and copying pasting. Like there's tiny little details through games that make people love it, and it shouldn't be like oh, you can't play that because it's a shit game. Like I can't stand when people like I poke fun at my friends that play Destiny, but honestly, like whatever makes you happy, I have no interest. And it shouldn't be like a well, F you for playing this game. And that's very much how I felt and why I had to get away from the community I was a part of because I was basically shunned in the stream team that I was a part of for playing Anthem.
Yeah, makes sense. And plus, most of the time, from what my experience, the people that are the games that get the most hype and then say that they're going to be a game killer end up not doing well. Overwatch did have a good run before Overwatch 2 and had its own little base, and then you see where that went.
Didn't didn't Overwatch 2 become like like ranked number like 3 or something on the worst games of the year or some stuff, something like that?
Probably. I didn't keep up with it too much. I just knew after you had to buy it and it wasn't free to play anymore, and I was locked to characters, I was turned off. I was like, because I remember beta testing Overwatch when it first came out. It was like
Mm,
an exciting time, but a lot has changed. A lot has changed.
yeah.
But
Do you
continuing, oh, go ahead.
do you still play Overwatch?
Here and there. If people were like, "Do you want to play Overwatch?" I'll play, but I don't like actively play. No,
Fair.
I wouldn't say I'm good at it by any means. So, but if you want to play sometime, we could always play.
Hey.
But
I'm down.
Going back to Twitch, what would you say your stream's about? You already kind of alluded to it, but if somebody didn't know what your stream was about, and this was your time to like pitch your stream, what people expect?
Very raunchy. I'd love to say that it's like super lighthearted. It's a community for people that want to be a part of something. Um, it's more of a family. This is not like a, me kind of situation. Like it's a very big support system. Over the years, it's kind of developed into being a support system for everyone. Started off as like a passion for games, and I'm trying to get back into the passion. I've lost a lot of it just because I haven't been able to play the games that I want to. My PC's a little bit older now. She's an old girl, so I've been picking up like little ones that aren't as hard on my PC. But it's gone into a lot of just chatting, so more of like the real conversations and stuff. But I mean, it's always been about the community, you know, and helping one another and finding passions that we all share and common things. So any, you know, just connections. We like to have a good time, make a little family out of it. Um, Try not to take life too seriously, but sometimes that happens, all right? And yeah,
I'm sure there will be discussions about this, about the man, the bear, and the other comments that were made.
they will. Yep, sure will.
Actually, staying on a question from your page yourself, have you ever seen a unicorn dance?
I am that unicorn.
What? Elaborate.
So it used to be when I would get subscriptions. I don't have that head accessible because I live in a tiny little square, so it's tucked way back there. Sometimes you can catch it on my sub alerts, but yeah. So anytime someone would sub, I had a giant foam head, unicorn head, that I would dance. So that's funny that you bring that up because I have totally like that's been over like 2 years that I've done that. So there's still people that'll come in and be like, "Oh, the unicorn dance," and I'm like, "Dude, I can't. Like my hair's too puffy. I can't get it on anymore."
Oh boy! But does your stream have a theme talking about unicorns? Does it have a theme, or do you say it has a theme?
I wouldn't say there's any theme. We just free ball it, man. We go. We go.
Fair enough. Fair enough. And then talking about Twitch, if somebody wanted to get into Twitch themselves, what is one thing you would tell them, especially if they want to become partner?
Do your research before getting into it. Find your niche, which is part of the research, right? Figure out who you are, what makes you stand out above everyone else. And it's hard to listen to these things because I'm like, do as I say, not as I do. I really loved pushing all of that, but anymore, like I'm content where I'm at. And if you want to strive for those types of goals, do your research, know your etiquette, find your niche, and what makes you stand out above communities. Yeah, I like that answer.
Very nice answer. I like it. Do you? So is Twitch your job? Would you say partnership is a way to go for people who are like, I'm gonna have Twitch as my job. I'm a partner. I'm gonna get partner.
Ooh, this is a good question. So, do I do this as work? Yes. This is my work. Is this a lifestyle that I would say to go for? Absolutely not. This is not sustainable. You have to rely on the goodness of people's hearts. I am in a good situation that I have a fallback plan. If you are looking for, and like I would never tell someone if you are looking to make money, do not become a streamer. That is like, do not go in it for the money because it's just not there. Um, oh, that's you do hear a lot of people that are like, "Oh, I want to do this as a job," but like honestly, like it's not a good living situation. You're looking at what 0.1% of Twitch streamers that actually make it as a streamer.
Yeah, the
So,
top.
again, do as I say, not as I do.
That's fair. So you would say more of a then you should have passion for it. If you're doing it for money, you're not gonna enjoy yourself pretty much.
Yes, absolutely.
Scrolling down about me. I know this is not specifically Twitch related, but I gotta kind of touch on this. Dirt bike. You own a dirt bike? Do you dirt bike still?
This breaks my heart. Since all of my family stuff, I have not had my dirt bike, so that's kind of fallen off. I have not touched my About Me in probably about 5 years. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's occasional times that we do get dirt bikes up at my cabin. But I haven't actually gone to like the tracks in a long time.
Do you still own your dirt bike, or is it gone?
I don't own my
Oh.
own, no.
For people, I'm sure people are still curious. What kind of bike was it? Because I'm sure there's somebody out there who will be like, "What kind of bike was it?"
It was a Honda CRF 250. Now
Would
I'm just sad.
would you, would you ever go back to get another bike or?
Um, I mean, again, that's just not in the really the cards for right now. I would love above just a dirt bike. I'd probably want to get like a crotch rocket, but that's also super dangerous. And that's I have no one to go dirt biking with, which is again, that's like one of the things that I love to do is dirt biking was like very much like family oriented. Um, and when family splits apart and stuff, you don't really get those opportunities. So it's not like something that I'm like I love anymore. Like I still enjoy it. I love doing like going up to the cabin and shredding a little bit. That's always my preferred. But as far as is like what I used to do and going through tracks and stuff like that, that's just not it's not on my priorities anymore.
Very fair, very fair. Going back to Twitch, I know we're bouncing all over the place, but trying to stay on topic here. Do you think Twitch gives you the proper tools and things that you need as a streamer? And what is one thing that you would like to see Twitch add?
Ooh. Well, I'm just gonna go off right off the with what I would like to see Twitch add. Compassion. I wish that they cared more about their streamers. I wish that there was more of a security. Um, Unfortunately, they are a very rich company that just don't care unless you're making them a lot of money. Um, do I think that they provide you good tools? No. I was actually baffled. They had sent out a content creator email basically stating, "We're not supplying you X, Y, and Z." And it's like, but you never have. I have griped about this a lot. Basically, they provide some way for me to upload my content. As far as that, that's what Twitch has to offer, and that's even coming from a partner standpoint. Um, it has basically come down to just numbers for them. They want money, and any business does, right? Eventually, that's where you get greedy. You want more and more and more. I know that it does cost a lot, but the 50-50 split is no longer 50-50. We now are taking more hit because we have to pay for all of the transaction fees and all of that. So they're taking even more money, which is again reverting back to why you shouldn't do this as a career. Um, and yeah, I just don't think that they provide enough help. It used to be back when you hit partner, you would get a better split, and you were offered more things. Since they have released the affiliate program, partner doesn't really mean anything. Everyone's kind of equal across the boards. So it's like it was a goal back then. Looking at it now, there's not really because you can still get Partner Plus program if you're an affiliate. You get the same amount of emotes. I think the one thing that I have is VIP badges. So I think that I get like 50 instead of the 10 or something that affiliates get. But pretty much across the board, it's all the same. They don't give you any type of extra support. I was getting DDoS, and they did nothing to help with that. Their auto mod stuff, I have to physically go in there and type in any foul language that I don't want, which is, I think that there just should be automatic words that are banned. There's just no brainer in my opinion. Um, they don't provide any of that. So I wish that I could say that they provide something besides just a way for me to upload my stuff, but I just don't have great opinions about that.
So, would you ever switch to a different platform then? YouTube, there's Kick out there now.
It would be hard being into this for so long. It all comes back to my community. It's really nice when I have people that are, you know, week one followers that they can still find me exactly where I was. So I will have people that I haven't seen in years and they'll come back and like not that I always remember them, but it is really cool to rekindle those like connections with people. So that would be my biggest withdrawal of like going to another platform. And I don't know if anywhere would be any better.
That's fair. That's fair. And what do you mean you don't remember the? I'm just kidding. I know. There's only so many years, and I do that all the time. I followed somebody, and I'll go in here and be like, I don't remember who you are, why I followed you, and they're like, I remember you though, and I'm like, oh no, I feel
That's so
terrible.
embarrassing.
Oh,
Well, and especially with like name changes too. People are like, you remember me? And I'm like, no, I have no idea. And it's something as slight as like name change color. I know that sounds weird, but like I associate people with their color, and if you come in and you're gonna do this now, I know you're going to. You're gonna come into my stream and you're gonna have a different freaking name color, and it's gonna throw me up a damn wall. But like when people change even the minor details, I'm like, oh, you know.
That makes sense. I mean, I get the streamer mind. There's certain colors, the symbols by their names, everything. I get it.
Yeah.
Understandable. Talking about compassion, can you delve a little bit more into that with Twitch? You feel like, um, God, this is kind of, I guess we're going down a controversial route, kind of. I know Twitch does a lot of stuff for like different months. You got June coming up, which I'm sure they'll be all over the Pride Month with that. They've had Black History Month and showing their Black creators, and of course, women. The Strong Women, I believe, was a thing for the year. Stronger women or stronger something along that line. There's something on Twitch that has just women creators that women were invited to.
Um, ooh, that's a tough question for me. This is where it starts to get I'm not crazy about that type of compassion. And it's not because I really care. And that's not to like sound like shallow or anything. I just I the like I said, the way that I got partner, I didn't want it to because I was born a certain way.
Mhm.
I didn't want to be promoted because I was born a certain way. I think that they should promote good content creators, positive content creators, and stuff like that. So I don't really dabble in that whole like Twitch front page. I think it's a joke. They had someone streaming a rock. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't mess with the front page. I go my following list and that's where I go from there. So as far as that, it's not something that I really want to jump into because I feel like things can be like worded weird if I say something and I don't want it to be taken like that. Ultimate answer is I just don't care. Talk about compassion.
That's fair. That's fair. Talking about safety on Twitch, you've dabbled in this a little bit. Is there something they could add more? I know they added the shield mode recently. As you know, being a female, you still get those comments and stupid things, and yes, you can ban them. You talked about parole officers. If you wanted to dabble more in that, I don't know how much you want
Ooh.
to delve, but I'm just you can't just let it go. It's like I've never heard a streamer be like, "Yeah, I contacted his parole officer the other day,"
Mm. Mhm.
And how did that
Um,
even come about? Now that I think about it,
which question do you want me to answer first?
we'll go with the Twitch one. The Twitch safety.
Okay, ask the question though.
Do
How,
you think they could add more for safety precautions for streamers or females in general? Maybe they need more protection or less protection. Like you said, the auto mod doesn't do well. They did add shield mode, which is I guess locks everything down.
so it's not up to Twitch to be able to catch everything. And I'm not trying to be like, they need to crack down on everything. I just wish that they had a little bit more care into things like hate raids. I still find it crazy that they can't detect bots. I find it crazy that the shield thing only protects so much, but like I don't know how derogatory or like just racist words can be automatically just put through my chat. These are things that should be right off the bat, just instant deleted, flagged, and I just don't think that they care enough because people that I've seen get hate rated. Like how is that not something that they have some type of precaution to be able to handle? But I don't think they even know. You could, yeah.
That's fair.
So
That's fair. And the whole parole thing now, like, how did like was that this is somebody that you was like stalking you, or like how did you get a
it's
contact with their parole officer?
it started off very you would have never known. Um, which is why I am so protective of anyone. This is not just for women, this is for anyone. I think that people need to be very, very careful on the internet and people are so easy. to throw out information about themselves, and that scares the hell out of me for them. Um, but I had someone in the community who was very nice. I didn't suspect anything of this, and it wasn't until later in, the conversation, there was something a little bit off, and they had made a comment something about being in prison for 2 years. And then they kind of slipped that it was due to like sexual harassment, but you don't just get thrown in prison for sexual harassment.
That's very
Um,
true. Very true.
they confided in one of my mods and said that they were going to do something terrible. And my mods had to reach out, got in contact with the parole officer. This is part of why I was like the California debacle, because this was someone in California. Um, and they were on parole. They weren't supposed to be on the internet. And the response from the parole officer was basically get information on this person. Don't tell anyone that this is who they are. And we just have to get evidence to take to court. And that didn't sit well with me because this person was also going to my friends and DMing them for information. And I had some people that were very lenient on giving this information and being like, "Oh yeah,
Oh
we'll meet up at
god.
TwitchCon."
Oh boy. Okay, go on. Sorry.
No, but this is what I mean. I think this is one of the big things that has also scared me away from TwitchCon, because this was someone who was very nice. I never thought anything of it, and they're like, "I just want to hug you," and I'm like, "Oh, okay." And then everything kind of coming to light, and we found out more information through this parole officer. We got all of that, and I had to warn people. I was like, "Please do not give your information. It's very important that you don't even respond to these DMs, please." And when they did that, the final night of like doing like confiding in, and like I didn't know what to do, because it was safer for this person to be in my channel and me have monitoring it, rather than just blocking them and sending them to someone else.
Mhm.
So that was where my thought process was on all of it, and they ended up going out and doing horrible things, and still didn't get taken off of Twitch, didn't get wasn't in prison and or anything, and this person had over 50 accounts of sexual harassment and beyond.
Damn. That
Yeah.
is
And
crazy.
that's ages 15 to 50.
Oh god.
So,
Trigger warning. I know that's a little late. Should have probably said that beforehand.
edit it. Trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning.
Put you right there. 40 boxes. That is crazy. Yes, the legal system is slow on a lot of things. It just does not. It cannot keep up with. I don't even want to say supply and demand. That's a bad word for it, but um, it can't keep up with just everything. I'm sure that parole officer probably had fucking 10 or 20 other people they were watching or in charge of, and it was and putting you guys to be like, yeah, get some information. We'll take them down. It's like,
So here's one of the crazy parts is this person had that against those women. One of them being his old parole officer. They had to get him a new parole officer. They gave him another woman.
oh god.
Tell me how that works. How do your one brain cell? No brain cell.
Probably the no brain cell, zero.
Yeah, that was rough. That situation was not great.
This is not good, not good. But you are safe now. Everything is as good as it can be. I'm assuming he's safely put away somewhere.
I
Uh,
haven't looked in a long time. He was sentenced into a court thing, and then I stopped following because I don't see him in my channel. I'm very cautious about DMs and who I'm talking to and who I allow to message me. And I think everyone should do that. I think that you should know who you're talking to and what type of information that you're releasing as well. Everyone should be safe. Everyone.
Goes back to internet safety. I know the internet is evolving, and like we talked about earlier with internet dating and all that jazz, it just
Hmm.
never can be too safe, never too cautious.
Yep.
To get off the darker topic, more
Yeah,
light.
stop taking us there.
What twice in one go here? Everybody's like, "Whoa, he's gone off the deep end." I'm sure. You
I
do,
am the creature of the dark.
We have merch. We have merch. There's two merch things here. Actually, you have a merch with your T-shirts and stickers. It looks like, but you also are, I would say, an artist and or creator of some sort.
Stop it.
Would would you consider yourself an artist, or would you say you're more of a creator? I don't know.
I don't.
Designer. I don't want to say design.
No, I wouldn't give my credit. Gosh, it's so weird to call myself that because I have so many people within like communities that are such phenomenal artists, and I just like cannot compete with that. Um, I guess I'm an artist. I don't know. I make things.
So you work with resin or am I saying that right?
Resin.
Resin. Sorry.
Yeah.
You work with resin, and it looks like you make keychains, and it looks like earrings of sorts. How did you get into that? Was that just something a side passion, or just stuff that you're just like, oh, that's cool. I'm gonna make that.
You're gonna get dark again.
What? This shouldn't be a dark topic. What are you talking?
I mean, it's something beautiful that came out of it. Me and my mother, before she had passed, we got together and we were hanging out, and she bought like this little resin kit. And my mom had so many dang glitters, and I hated glitters, but we did that together. And then after she was gone, when I was going through her stuff and cleaning, she had about a zillion friggin' glitters, and I didn't know what to do. That's funny, being someone that hates glitter. So I kind of took those over and I'm like, okay, well, what can I do? And I thought that it was like a beautiful way of putting my, like utilizing that stuff that my mom had. But also it gives me a lot of passion for my work because it does like remind me of like good times and stuff like that. So ultimately it was me and my mom that were doing that, and that's how I got into resin.
Interesting. You do
Yeah.
have a shop that we'll be showing on stream, or actually this video, not stream. Geez, see. Video as you're talking here in a second. But it will also be linked down below. Do you do Etsy? What else do you plan on selling with the resin? Do you plan on making other things in the future?
So I have quite a few things that I already currently have. It's just getting all of my stuff uploaded. Obviously, I have a lot of jewelry. I have pins that I'm working on. Still haven't uploaded. I've got my skullfly pins as well as I have new little half skulls. So those will be coming shortly. Just got the new molds in today. Well, yesterday. Um, so I've got some pins, got some jewelry. I have little desk uh what would I call them? Decorations, like little skulls that you put on your desk. I have like, I know this is gonna sound outdated, but like I have pen holders, and little storage things. So I've got a bunch of molds. I just am not sure what direction I want to take the business side. I just know that like the jewelry side, I liked pushing that because it was something that I thought was like beautiful. I haven't perfected something as far as like containers, so that'll be in the future, but it is trying to put out more product of one thing rather than just like miscellaneous random things here and there.
Interesting. And do you plan on going to Etsy, or do you just plan on running on off this website, the Ko-Fi website?
For now, I want to keep it just the Ko-Fi. Etsy does a lot of charges, so if, unless you're selling those things, you're gonna end up spending more money than you're making. So until I know that I have a little bit more of a consistent base, ultimately I would love to see my business grow and become something that I can make sales every month so that it pays for those fees that you have to pay for through Etsy. But as of right now, it's staying on Ko-Fi.
And how did you come up with the name Spiteful Curiosities? I was here for this in stream, but
Spicy. Spicy. Um, well, I was trying to keep with my SC, so satisfied curve, but I wanted them to be separate. So I needed to find something that started with S and then the second with C. It was kind of bounced back for a couple things, but I always loved like pushing myself because of spite. There was a little bit of drama with people trying to take my ideas from me and stuff like that. So I came up with spiteful, and then kind of bounced ideas off with my community of like what I could have for the C, and curiosities had popped up. I couldn't do Like there was always like spiteful customs and stuff like that, but I wasn't sure if I was going to get into customs or doing any type of customs for people. And I do plan on bringing that out. I'm just trying to find like a good rhythm for everything once I get everything up on my shop uploaded. Um, but yeah, so spiteful, there's a little bit of a poke and jab on that. Um, but yeah, we'll leave it at that one.
And you did say you want to keep them separate. Is there a specific reason you're trying to keep your Twitch separate from your business side?
Yes. I have more of a raunchy persona through Twitch. I talk a lot like about dirty things, and I want to be able to have my jewelry and that kind of stuff represented more professionally.
Hmm.
So I don't have the two linked. So anyone from my raunchy side has access, but I don't have it vice versa. Just to protect in case I'm out and about and I'm rocking something and someone's like, I really like your necklace. And then I'd be like, oh, here's my card to my website. And then they don't get linked to me talking about buttholes.
Fair enough. So you would say, do you do a lot more just chatting now, more so gaming? Because you said your PC is older now, so you just have like a connection with your viewers and your friends. I guess we would say friends, some friends.
Yeah, yeah, no, absolutely. Like I said, I have a very, very strong community, and the people that hang out are very solid. Like these are people that have been around for a really long time, and we have new people that you either fit in or you don't. And not everyone can take the humor and um or the serious talks and stuff like that. Not everyone can hang, and I think that we break those barriers.
Makes sense. I mean, I can see that. Trust me, it's definitely different than other parts of Twitch, I would say. I'm not saying that it's like crazy wild or anything. Still in Twitch guidelines, just more open and free. You're very open to having conversations. I know there's discussions that you've brought people into Discords with and had open discussions about, which is always cool and interesting. You don't always see that.
Well, and I also think it challenges people. I think that people are so quick to be angry about opinions. And at the end of the day, everyone's got an opinion. They all stink. No one's ever going to come to an agreement on like the perfect world. So I think that it's a good challenge to have people's different views. And everything is fine to talk about until it becomes name calling.
Yeah.
That's where I have to draw the line of like, okay, well, you just called them stupid, and that's not really fair. Like, that's not an opinion. That's just you trying to be hurtful. Conversation is done. So, like, we try to keep it very adult and accepting. It doesn't always work out that way. Unfortunately, just chatting tends to get too deep with those conversations. So, I am more just chatting right now. I'd love to get back to gaming because it is like the passion of games and like joking around with people about those games. Originally getting into this was I wanted a place for people to get away and just kind of lose themselves into video games. And anymore, because it is such a support system, um, we do a lot more of like the serious talks than I ever have, which is fine to an extent. I would like to get back to like lighter hearted, uplifting. Like I want everyone to be happy and like everyone. There's a lot of crappy things in life, and like I wanna be there for all of that, but I wanna be, like, a good distraction for that, not something that, like, puts that on people, so we're working on it. We're still growing.
It makes sense. You also do your art there, so if people are curious, you did see on stream. Well, you didn't see it, but you did see it in the video. It will be linked down below. But all the stuff that she does make, she does show sometimes on stream, and also creates it on stream also. So good stuff there, all over the place. You get a little dabble of everything. I tell you, a little just chatting, a little art, a little gaming. But moving forward to the last, probably the hardest question is, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, boy. Dead. Um, and back to dark.
Yeah.
Um, Honestly, I wish that I had an answer for that. I wish I could tell you that I had some great goal. These last couple years have been very challenging for me, and I am not 100% sure. But let's say in 5 years, let's check back and see how we doing. How does that sound?
That is a cop out. That is a cop out. The people would be mad if I don't push back, so I'm going to push back a little bit. Yeah,
Okay.
have like a little goal that you have, or somewhere do you see Twitch growing? Do you see your business growing to somewhere else? Like you said, maybe move to Etsy. Do you see yourself owning a shop? Um,
You
any?
know, I have so many ideas of like things that I want to do, but I'm just testing the waters right now. Like I'm putting out my stuff. And future I would like to see if there's places like I was you had brought this up earlier in the conversation, is going to those coffee shops where they do like D&D and Magic the Gathering and stuff like that. And ultimately I really wanted to get into making D&D dice. Fear is like a common denominator in a lot of things that hold me back, obviously.
Hmm.
But I can't get to that level, but I always wanted to make dice so that I could go to places like that and sell my products, which there are places that I can actually do that with my jewelry. And I would love to have more of that. It's just so hard with so many unknown factors of like right now where I'm living, I don't have the space for everything that I'd like to do. I would love to see my resin stuff grow into greater things. Um, but I have so many like ideas, like being someone that's into like crafts and stuff, you like go here and here and here and here. So I'm testing the waters to see how everything goes. As far as Twitch, I'm pretty content with it where I'm at with my community, and there's a lot of things that I'm like, "Ugh, I don't really like when people do that. I don't like when people take advantage because I never want people to feel like they have to support. I don't want people to feel like they have to donate because it is a free service. And I don't like pushing those things on people, but I feel so much more fulfilled when I'm providing an actual physical product that people want to pay for. So yeah, I would love to see that business grow, and that's why it's so hard to say where I'm going to end up because I'm so like, oh, I want to go to cosmetology school. Oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. Twitch will always be there because that is my family. Like after 8 years, like you grow a bond with those people. That's my home. And I can't say much of it growing because I can't imagine being one of those people that has thousands of people in my stream just watching chat just go because I like the connections with those people. But I would definitely love to see in 5 years something take off with that resin stuff. But there's so many ideas. Like I said, I would have loved to open an entire shop where I've got that stuff and I've got like my t-shirt designs. I would love to get into screen printing. So it's so hard to say where I'm gonna end up because I'm so all over the place until I find some way to get somewhere.
That makes sense. At least you have like an idea, though. It couldn't just be like, "Yeah, we'll check back." At least you
Check
had it.
back in five. We'll check back in 5 years.
It will be always interesting. People will pull this up in 5 years if you're still on Twitch and be like, what you said 5 years ago. Let's see where you're at. This is a little bit deeper of a topic. I don't know if you want to touch on this too much. You did say you lost your mother.
Yeah.
Um, do you have anything you want to say for people that, you know, may not have their parents anymore, or something that's changed within you since you lost your mother?
It's hard to say for people that have already lost it. I think that you become part of the dead mom squad or the dead dad squad. I mean, it's just inevitable. It happens to all of us.
I wouldn't say it's a
And it's
squad, but okay. Sorry.
well, I mean, they have things that it's kind of just like a way to keep it lighthearted. That's the way that I deal with things. I make jokes. People are like, "Oh, my mom never calls," and I was like, "Oh, really?" Because my mom and other, never does either. Is like kind of jokes. Like there's little dark jokes that I have to get by. I don't know if there's much to say to people that have already lost. Like you don't really know until you go through it. And a year before my mom, my best friend, who is my mod as well, he lost his father. And, being a support for him, I never knew what it was like. And it was just like, you say sorry to someone, but you don't really know what to say because you don't know what it's like. But once you become part of that, um, it's not much that you can say because we all go through it of it never gets easier. You just learn how to deal with it better. Like you're never gonna not miss them. It's not gonna be, oh, well, today I just don't. Like you think about them every day, and and it's a good thing. It means that they meant something to you. The thing that I could say to people that still have those opportunities, like try. Like one of the things that was recently was like Mother's Day, and that was really hard for me because it wasn't just like, oh, I don't have my mom. It was like looking back on I should have bought her flowers. I should have showed up with a card. I should have spent lunch with her. You know, I never made those efforts. So if you have them, and that's for anyone and anyone that you love, like make sure you let them know because life is short, you know.
It's very true. Very true. There's something that you would want to tell your mom if she was here today.
Ooh, you're gonna make me cry.
Ah, you didn't mean that. If you don't want to answer that, we can just move forward. But
It's not that I want to say anything. I just wish she was there to see like the business side. I think that she would have been freaking stoked for my resin stuff. She was a very creative person. Any creative bone that I have in me, she gave. So it was um going through that, she was my support system, and doing my first show with all of my jewelry and selling that stuff was really difficult not having my mom there because she believed in that kind of shit. She believed in my work. She believed in my cosplay. She believed in any of the costumes that I made for Halloween. She believed in any artwork that I did. So like I wish that I could have just had her there, not even to say anything. So
I'm sure she's still watching you, cheering you on. But I gotta know, you got the Pokemon Go account though, right? You got all the shinies for shinies, or
dude, that's
no?
so sad. It's so sad. She spent so much money on that, and unfortunately, the entire Pokemon Go thing is just gone.
Oh
And
no!
her whole legacy, man, her whole legacy is just gone. So that's a little heartbreaking.
Is it because you didn't know the password, or is it just because it's just?
Um, it well, family drama. Everything had to get wiped. It was just a mess. There's
Oh,
yeah, the family when there's a death in the family, shit just goes wild. There's always one person in the family that has to ruin everything. So it ultimately became a thing of like, well, I want her cell phone, so it had to be wiped without getting any of the information.
oh
So
Jesus Christ! Okay.
yeah.
God bless. You couldn't even get the Pokemon Go account. Jeez.
I know. I wish, but none of us played it. We only played it for my mom, so it was like, what would we even do with it anyways?
The shiny. I'm sure she had some fucking badass Pokemon.
She did. She sure did.
Especially since she said she had routes and she probably did raids and all
She
kinds of
did.
stuff. Well, not to take a breath. Take a breath. The questions are over. The hard part is over. Well, one of the hard parts, I guess. We go into the next part, which is kind of fun, and I probably will stop you a few times, but it's the rapid fire questions. These are rapid fire. This is this or that. So these are supposed to be quick, but like I said, usually I get thrown off or go, really? Why is that? So do your best. They're not actually rapid fire, like I said. But thank you so much. That was the first. How do you feel? Everything off your chest now? It wasn't that bad. See?
No.
See?
I wish I could see a little face.
It will. You get to see it on YouTube, watch it back, and be like, I cannot believe I do that all the time.
Hey, Tony. I had to do it.
Every time I go back, I'm like, oh, that's how I sound. That's how I look. Like a derp. I don't know. You know how that goes. Self reflection is always good. But
I
anyway,
love it.
to the rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Hamburger or hot dogs?
Hamburger.
What's your favorite topping on a hamburger?
Ooh, fresh jalapenos.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
What are your two dogs? Because so I know you have dogs.
A purebred Shiba Inu. And a what is he? He's a blue healer corgi mix.
And what are their names for the?
Nitro is my Shiba, and then my blue healer is Buster.
There you go. I had to work it in there somehow. I was gonna get to the pets.
Thank you. They're my world.
Ice cream or cake?
Chips.
What? Okay, fair enough. Favorite brand of chips?
Ooh. I mean, can I pick like my favorite of just any chip?
Yeah, that's fine.
The Doritos chili lemon.
There you go.
Or what? Yeah.
Those are right. Yes, if you were gonna ask if that was right. I already know this one, but people probably don't know. Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
How do you like your coffee?
Hot.
I would hope so. Well, I guess you could have iced coffee, but
You're gonna have iced coffee.
so it's just black coffee, nothing, no sugar, no.
No, I do hazelnut creamer.
There you
I
go.
like a little coffee with my creamer. So.
There you go. Pizza or Chinese food?
Oh, Chinese food.
Ooh, I guess I gotta ask now. Your favorite Chinese dish?
I mean, my go-to is always gonna be sesame chicken.
That sounds so basic. Oh my god.
I'm basic.
Yeah, yeah. Sesame, no, sesame chicken's good. There's nothing wrong. Uh, pirates or ninjas?
Pirates.
Early bird or night owl?
Night Owl.
World of Warcraft or RuneScape?
World of Warcraft.
Anime or cartoons?
Cartoons.
Damn, you probably just the anime people are losing their mind right now.
That's okay.
People always find a loophole in this one, but I always ask it: no internet or no cell phone?
No cell phone.
Harry Potter or Lord of the Rings?
Lord of the Rings.
Coke or Pepsi?
I only drink those if I'm actually having like alcohol with it. So Coke.
Fair enough. Your favorite alcoholic beverage
Ooh, my favorite?
or your go-to? What do you usually order?
My go-to is just rum and Coke.
There you go. I figured after you said you mix it with your alcohol, I figured it was rum and coke. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Do I have to pick?
Damn! All the Star Wars fans, all those Trekkies out there.
Can I really quick on why I'm not a Star Wars fan though?
Sure, go ahead.
My boyfriend kind of screwed me over on that one at the time because we watched every single one of the Star Wars in the like the chronological order. Is that what it's called?
Mm-hmm.
So we watched the new ones first and then the old ones after. Wrong choice. Don't do that. If you are gonna date someone and get them into Star Wars, don't do that. Um, and we watched everything. We stayed up the entire time. Like it was disgusting. We were not well. And then it wasn't until the very end where I missed the entire punchline of the oldest one. Or no, I guess it's like the last of the oldest ones.
Mm-hmm.
The big punchline. I fell asleep too. So I have a little bit of it's a little sore subject for me. So that's the only reason. It's not that I think that they're terrible. I just like it's pain. So
So it would be Star Wars, is what you're saying. Hi. No. We'll
pain. Star Trek didn't do me like that.
fair enough. Fair enough. Pokemon or Digimon?
Oh, Digimon are the champions. Pokemon.
I was gonna say, really, Digimon? You would be the first Digimon person who picked Digimon, by the way. I
I
think.
loved Digimon though.
Digital monsters, it makes sense, you know? But Pokemon's
Digimon
a
are the
classic.
champions.
Let's talking about Pokemon real quick. You play the Pokemon games, I'm guessing?
Yep.
Your go-to Pokemon, or your first original Pokemon game?
Oh, see, that's where you're mistaken. Because I
Oh.
didn't get to play. That was my brother's thing, so I didn't get to really partake in those. So I don't have an answer. I got to enjoy the TV shows because no one got to game.
Oh, fair enough, fair enough. Did
Yeah.
you collect the
So
cards?
I did.
Do you have
My
any?
brother always got the best ones though.
Oh, so your brother probably has the first edition cards, all those that are making money right now?
I wish that he did. I have no idea where they went. He may have gotten them when we were cleaning out the house, but no one knows where they all went.
Oh boy. And then you have iPhone or Android.
Android.
Damn, you've been just making all kinds of people mad.
Apple is a cult. You can't change my mind.
That's fair. That is fair. You made it through the rapid fire questions. I know they weren't too difficult. That's pretty good. This is the time. I tell you that they're not always rapid fire because of course I'm like, really? Well, how about this? How about that? But this is the time that I give you now. You get to shout out anything you want. If you want to shout out to your friends, your mods, your sponsors. As you know, all your links will be down below. And if you shout anything out, or if you want me to put anything that you mentioned in the shout out, will also be down below. But I will give you this time. This is the floor is yours. Whatever you want to say.
Well, I just want to thank you for the opportunity. I do want to do a shout out to my mods who show up with the unconditional support. They're amazing. My community, who is always solid. And yeah, I thank you guys so much for your time. Like I said, if you want to check out my shop, I'm still uploading it. And yeah, you guys are awesome and be good to each other.
Awesome, awesome. I love it. Thank you for the shout out. It usually happens, but I don't expect it. This wouldn't happen without you, of course. So thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. If this video gets 7 likes, yes, a whole 7 likes, which is a lot for me, Curve here will let you pick the next colors to go in the skull. Yeah, fancy. And she'll let you choose if it's a keychain or an earring. Getting real fancy. Curve did not know I was doing that. I always do this at the end. So guys,
Surprise!
so make sure you get the 7 likes so you can come back and be like, listen, Curve, we're gonna put hot pink and purple together, damn it. Or some other. She's like, oh god. She's like, hell no, this ain't happening.
Hey, I'm here for it.
But no, thank you, Curve. If it wasn't for you, these things wouldn't be a thing. So thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it so much and taking your time out of your day to film one of these. I appreciate you so much. As I said several times now, everything that's mentioned is links down below. If you want to follow me, those are also down below. But of course, give Curve some love. You can follow her on Twitch, same names as you can see on the screen there, and those links will be down below. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.